Hello students. So I hope that all of you must be gearing up for your mains 2025, and to help your preparation for the mains we have come out with this series of some of the important issues related to the different subject. In today's session I will brief you about some of the important topics, the important themes that you should not miss for the upcoming mains examination. So in the geography, what are the different topics, different themes that you need to cover? We will discuss that in this session. When it comes to the geography, it is part of GS paper 1, and GS paper 1 lot of student fails to score good marks, and one of the biggest hurdle in this GS paper 1 happens to be the geography, because if the student is not having the proper understanding, the conceptual clarity, they will suffer, and specifically if they are not having the geographical orientation. So geographical orientation is going to be very important, very crucial, along with some of the topics, some of the questions that are being asked. In general, you will get 4 questions. This is the pattern that is coming out from last few years, and we are expecting that this same pattern will be followed in the upcoming mains examination. So they are asking 4 questions of 10 mark and 4 questions of 15 mark, that is of 100 marks question that are being asked. So regularly they are asking 100 marks questions from the geography in GS paper 1. If you will just go through with some of the questions that are being asked, you will find that the nature of the question is continuously changing. How it is changing? Like in 2024, if you will go through, then you will find most of the questions were revolving around the climate topic in the physical geography section. So physical geography mein, they have not touched upon any other area other than the climate. That is also very much understandable, because the entire world is primarily getting affected, is concerned about the overall well-being of the planet with respect to the change in the climate or the global warming. So the problem of global warming, climate change, climatic hazards, natural hazards. So these are the phenomena, processes that are concerning the entire world, and within the topic, within the broader issue of these, they are framing the question. तो जो क्वेश्चन आपके फ्रेम किए जा रहे हैं, they are being framed from these areas only. So some of the important issues topic, like topic of climate, temperature rise, sea surface rise. Similarly, the topic of cyclone, be it your tropical cyclone, be it your temperate cyclone, frontal activity, temperate cyclone, then tropical cyclone, intensity, frequency of the tropical cyclone has increased. In fact, this year also you will find the tropical cyclone happens to be very much in the news. Temperate cyclone, western disturbances happens to be very much in news. So they are asking the question from there. Then ocean and climate interaction. So ocean, atmospheric phenomena. Almost none of the climatic phenomena will get completed without the interaction with the ocean. So in oceans और जो climate का interaction है, that is going to be very important, and within that perspective they are asking the question. And within the broader issue of the ocean, प्लास्टिक पोल्यूशन आपका है, मेरीन resources are getting affected, marine life is getting affected, the marine ecosystem is getting affected. From that perspective, you will look out, you will find that most of the question is being asked, what is sea surface temperature? How does it affect the formation of the tropical cyclone? What is the phenomena of cloud burst? What is aurora australis and aurora borealis? What is twister? So almost all the 4 questions that they have asked in 2024 happens to be from the climate, and the topics are very much generalized. But within the generalized topics, they are asking the same question. They are checking the same concept. So they are checking the concept of the temperature. They are checking the concept of different layers of the atmosphere. So if the question is being asked, what is the phenomena, what is aurora australis or aurora borealis? Aurora australis, aurora borealis, you cannot answer until unless you will have the idea of the different layers of the atmosphere. If you are not having the idea of what is geomagnetism, what is the magnetosphere? So geomagnetism, magnetosphere, the exosphere, thermosphere, you should have idea which of the gases are involved in that particular interaction. So in mains examination, like in 2023 अगर आप देखेंगे, discuss the consequences of climate change on the food security. How are the fjords formed? Southwest monsoon called Purvaiya. How has this directional seasonal change? So almost you will not find any pattern that is emerging, direct pattern. तो direct pattern नहीं कि यही question आपका repeat हो रहा है, like how it happens in the optional. So in the optional, you can expect that this question is continuously repeating. Here the question will not repeat, but here the theme will repeat. So the climate theme, ocean theme will definitely dominate. The geomorphology theme is not that much dominated. In geomorphology questions, they keep on asking the questions like after every 1 year, after every 2 years. So 2024 में उन्होंने नहीं पूछा, it doesn't mean that they will not ask in the 2025. So they can ask, but the majority of the question will remain from the climate. In fact, not only the world climate, the India climate is also very much in the news. तो आपको जो topics, the topics that you need to focus on, like other than the cyclonic activity, so let's list out some of the important topic, climate. So the very first topic that you should have clarity of, temperature distribution. Then you will have different types of wind. In this you need to have upper atmospheric wind like jet stream. Jet stream happens to be very much in news. Along with this jet streams also you will find the polar vortex. So polar vortex was also very much in the news because of some of the weakening of the polar vortex. Due to the weakening of the polar vortex, lots of coldness from the polar area is capable of moving toward the equatorial area, mainly in the winter season. So during the winter season, most of the low latitude area, mid latitude area will experience the extreme level of coldness. This extreme level of coldness that is being witnessed specifically in the northern hemisphere is mainly because of this polar vortex. Then throughout the globe, the intensity and frequency of the tropical cyclone has increased. Tropical cyclones are becoming more hazardous. Tropical cyclones are becoming more deadly. So tropical cyclones are becoming more hazardous. Tropical cyclones are becoming more deadly. In fact, even in India also, when you will start looking out some of the hazard, so in that hazard also climate is playing very important role. तो कुछ contemporary जो topics हैं इसी के साथ में, topic of landslide mainly in India. अब ये जो इंडिया की लैंडस्लाइड है, that the landslide in India is primarily associated with the monsoonal rainfall. So monsoon itself become a very important topic. Here tropical cyclone, then temperate cyclone. Sometimes when cyclone is very much in the news, so rather than directly asking the cyclone, they will ask about the some related phenomena. So they can ask the phenomena of front and air mass. And in fact, last few years they have not asked the front and air mass. They are only asking the tropical cyclone, the different connected features, phenomena. So it is quite possible that they can ask the front air mass. Obviously, temperate cyclone cannot be answered without having the idea of the front and air mass. So this is in a way, this is a one topic, but I have segregated because sometimes they can ask the question from here. Then in monsoon, there is a one aspect of the temperate cyclone, that is western disturbances. The western disturbances, which causes the winter rainfall in most part of the northern India. This winter rainfall in northern India is primarily associated with the western disturbances. And when it comes to the western disturbances, the nature, the intensity, the duration of the western disturbances is completely changing. Western disturbances, generally different spells of the western disturbances are being witnessed during the winter season. But now what is happening, that this frequency, this intensity has continuously changing. So ये जो आपकी intensity है, ये change हो रही है. Now what is happening, it is expected that by the month of February, the western disturbances will start subsiding. So less spell of the western disturbances come. But now we are witnessing more spells of the western disturbances, and these western disturbances are not only bringing the temperate cyclone developed in the Mediterranean area, but also they are bringing some of the spells of a storm. So we are experiencing more cases of some of the very high speed winds, dust storms. So dust storm is also associated with the western disturbances. Then when it comes to the monsoon, this year, monsoon in India arrived very early, and in fact it happens to be one of the earliest monsoon in last 50 years. So it's one of the very early monsoon arrival. Monsoon has arrived very early, but when it comes to the northern part or the northwestern part, there the monsoon have arrived very late. So there is an early arrival of the monsoon, and this early arrival of the monsoon is like almost in 50 years the earliest arrival, but in case of northwestern side, northern side, it's delayed. So why this anomaly? Whether this anomaly is getting affected by the climate change. So the involvement of the climate change, the role of the climate change in the monsoon. And when there is a climate change, it is not only affecting the monsoon, rather there are also some other phenomena that are getting affected. Like we are sitting in Himalaya, we are sitting in India, and nearby India we have a Himalaya. So there are also lots of climate induced hazard. So climate induced hazard in Himalaya. Climate induced hazard. Climate induced hazard in Himalaya, and out of that climate induced hazard in Himalaya, one is the cloud burst, which they already have asked. So they have already asked the cloud burst. So cloud burst पूछा जा चुका है, but still they have not asked lightning. So lightning they have not asked. तो lightning पूछा जा सकता. In fact, lightning को लेके there has been some of the recent development where they have brought some approaches, some new detection, the early prediction, which will help in early detection of the lightning, because lightning is one of the deadly hazard. Large number of people are losing their lives just because of the phenomena of lightning. So how this lightning is happening, ये किस तरीके से आपकी lightning how this lightning is affecting the lives of people. Then along with this lightning cloud burst, we can have some of the other aspect, like there is a one phenomena which is very much associated with the climate, and it affects the people of mountain area more in comparison to the plain area, but it can be asked. Temperature inversion, and temperature inversion is nothing but it is associated with the fog. So rather than directly asking the temperature inversion, they can ask about the fog. तो fog के बारे में पूछा जा सकता है. So these are the some of the topics that you should not miss. In fact, there is one more hazard that is associated with the Himalaya, and almost its frequency, its intensity is continuously increasing. So that is not exactly related to the climate, but earthquake, volcanoes in Pacific Rim of Fire. Very similarly, earthquake in Himalayas, its intensity, its frequency has also increased intensively. तो इस पे भी आपके बहुत सारे questions पूछे जा रहे हैं. So large number of questions are being asked from this area. Then in general, the continent and ocean building concepts. So continents and ocean building concepts, where they can ask, they can check your knowledge of plate tectonic theory, they can check your knowledge of continental drift theory, seafloor spreading theory, paleomagnetism concept, mantle plume concept. So mantle plume, paleomagnetism, they can definitely ask. Then coming to the ocean, in landform, they are not asking very specialized landform. They are having tendency of asking some of the very common landform. So like they have asked fjords. Similarly, they can ask about the bays, gulf, bight. So bays, gulf, bights can be asked. Similarly, they haven't asked a very basic question, a very generalized question related to the delta. So the questions on delta can also be asked. The delta पे भी पूछा जा सकता है कि that how the delta is being formed within the perspective of India, the difference between the delta and estuaries. Like in case of India, we have the eastern coast and western coast. The eastern coast, the rivers are more having tendency of forming the delta, whereas the rivers of western coast, they are in process of formation of the estuaries. So they form more estuaries and mainly estuaries. So why it is the case? Then some of the aspects of so these are the some of the topics that can be asked, and questions can be framed from these particular topics. Last topic related to the physical is associated with the ocean. Ocean now plays very important role. So marine resources, What are the marine resources? Fishes, they have not asked question. They haven't asked the question in last few years. Coral reef, तो यहाँ से भी question आ सकता है. One of the area from where they have asked the question in prelims, but they have not asked the question in the mains examination. So you can expect some of the question related to the law of the sea, mainly from the perspective of marine resource harnessing. In this, you can expect the questions like deep ocean mission. So the topics of deep ocean mission is also the focus area. Similarly, there happens to be the one more topic, like in this monsoon perspective, IMD has come out with new monsoon forecast. So IMD's new monsoon forecast model is also one of the very important area that you should not miss. When you will pick up the topics of ocean, so in the oceanic area, there is a favorite topic from the ocean which keeps on repeating almost every 2 to 3 years. So this is only few topics in the GS paper which examiner have tendency to ask frequently. तो कई बार repeat करते हैं ये questions आपका. So ocean current formation, impact. So impact of this ocean current, importance, effect, importance of the ocean currents, topic of sea level rise, so these are the some of the topics that you can expect the question can be framed, can be asked from these particular topics. I already have covered in the climate, but from the India, one of the topics are related to the soils of India. So this is a topic that you should be very much focused. Vegetation of India. There is a lot of debate associated with the urban forestry. So this urban forestry was also very much in the news. So you can expect some questions from this urban forestry also. बहुत news में रहा है. So this is also one of the important area. As far as physiography is concerned, so they are not having the direct tendency to ask that what is the physiography or how this physiographic region has developed. Rather, they can ask this physiographic question from the perspective of features. So, importance of peninsular India, importance of peninsular India, importance of northern plain, also Himalayas. So importance of northern plain, importance of Himalayas. So these are the some of the topics that you should not miss, because these are the topics that is going to be very crucial for your mains examination from the India perspective. So when you will go through with some of these topics, then you will find that questions are being repeated from these areas only, like Discuss the consequences of climate change on the food security. Why is southwest monsoon called Purvaya easterly in Bhojpur region? How has this directional seasonal wind system influenced the cultural ethos of region? In 2022, there was a question of describe the characteristic and types of primary rocks. So even some of the basic question can also be asked. Then what are the forces that influence the ocean current? Describe their role in fishing industry. And the generalized questions like what I have suggested, that need to know about how the delta formation, what is the estuary, difference between the delta and estuary, bays, gulf, bites. So they have asked the questions like mention the significance of Strait and Isthmus in international trade, because most of the students go through and they try to locate that what is the strait, what is the isthmus, what is the bay, what is the gulf. But when the questions are being asked, that importance of the bay, importance of the gulf, and specifically the socio-economic importance. So the most of the students get almost confused, or they are not able to think that what should be written for 200 words, for the 250 words. So there comes to a problem. That is why you need to look out some of the very generalized topics. If the topics where you never expect that how come questions are being asked from this particular topic, from this particular area. तो उस चीज का भी आपको ध्यान रखना. Then the very basic topic, troposphere is a very significant atmospheric layer that determines weather process. How? Differentiate the causes of landslide in the Himalayan region and Western Ghat. Then why is India considered as subcontinent? Elaborate your answer. Briefly mention the alignment of major mountain ranges of the world and explain their impact on local weather conditions with examples. So these are the some of the questions. Like in 2019, there was a question, assess the impact of global warming on the coral life system with examples. How do ocean currents and water masses differ in their impact on marine life and coastal environment? Why is India's regional navigation satellite system needed? How does it help in the navigation? Define mantle plume and explain its role in plate tectonics. The Himalayas are highly prone to the landslide. Discuss the causes and suggest suitable measures of mitigation. So if you look out in last 9 to 10 years, then you will find that majority of the questions are primarily being framed from that particular perspective. तो ये जो theme आपको मैंने बताया, उन्हीं themes पे ही question frame किए जा रहे हैं. तो majority of the questions are being framed on that particular topic. In fact, if you look out the topics like discuss the meaning of color-coded weather warning for cyclone-prone areas given by the Indian Meteorological Department. So, within the tropical cyclone, early warning system, the forecasting system, the different weather system, that also need to be prepared. Mention the global occurrence of volcanic eruption and their impact on regional environment. Discuss the geophysical characteristic of circum-Pacific zone. So, disaster hazards, these are the very important area, focused area from where the UPSC is having tendency of asking the questions. Regularly they are asking, they are framing the questions. Now, moving to the second part, and second part mainly deals with the topics of human geography. When it comes to the human geography, the syllabus mentions the human geography topics like distribution of key natural resources across the world, including South Asia and Indian subcontinent, factors responsible for location of primary, secondary and tertiary sector industries in various parts of the world, including India. When it comes to the human geography, the topics that you are supposed to prepare is like minerals. But before mentioning the topic, quickly understand, when you are preparing there are the three important area that you need to understand. The first theme will be distribution of phenomena. So the main important should be towards understanding the pattern of the distribution. Pattern of the distribution means location. Whatever the topic you are preparing, you should have clarity of the location, but more importantly, why that location? Why the location where it is located? Why the rice is being cultivated where it is being cultivated? Why the coal is distributed or coal is present in that area where it is present? So the first question that you need to be very clear is why that location, that is distribution of phenomena. Then the second aspect will be the location change. Location change means new location. And the third is cause of location change. So these are the three crucial aspects, and broader approach for answering all the questions of the human and economic geography should be these three: the location change, and if the location change is happening, definitely there must be some of the reasons, some of the factors, that is why location change is happening. That's it. And when you are looking out the location, why that location? A reason behind that. That is factors responsible for the location. And if there is a location change, where the location change is happening and how it is happening. Now let's look out some of the topics. Distribution of metallic and energy minerals. So from this perspective, lots of questions are being asked. So at least you should have idea about the distribution of the coal, distribution of the petroleum, distribution of the natural gas, distribution of the iron ore, manganese. So these are some important minerals, that distribution you should be knowing. Then the issue of energy security, and within the perspective of energy security, renewable sources of energy. So the alternate sources of energy, the renewable sources of energy, that also you should be knowing. Then location of iron, or simply steel, fertilizer, cement, pharmaceuticals, sugar, jute, cotton industries. So these are the industries that you should not miss. If you will prepare the distribution of all these industry, and whenever you will prepare the distribution of all these industry, always remember you need to focus on the what are the different raw materials that are needed. तो जब भी आप distribution, जब भी आप industry prepare करेंगे, in case of industry, always think that what raw material industry needs. Not only what raw materials industry needs, from where it gets. So from where it is getting the raw materials, how the raw materials requirement is getting fulfilled, whether this industry is a raw material based industry or this industry is a market based industry. So the location of the industry, why the industry is located, where it is located, whether it is based on the raw materials, whether it is based on the market, so that you need to have clarity, because every time they are not going to ask the questions directly. Might be they can discuss the distribution of steel industry or discuss the distribution of steel industry away from the source of raw materials. Why some of the industries are not located where raw materials are present. So you should have clarity of this, like, we will look out the question later on. First, let's try to look out other issues. Then the most important issue is the water resources of India. There is a one physical topic, but I am covering from here. Within the broader perspective of this water resources, you also need to prepare like topic, interlinking of river. In India, we have a fresh water, we have a groundwater. India is having a great availability of water, but the fresh water over the period of time getting affected, depleted. So there is some groundwater pollution, groundwater pollution, also issue of depletion. So groundwater pollution, groundwater depletion is one of the very important concern. This is the important concern. And in this important concern, we are witnessing water crisis. So how to solve this water crisis? How to improve the availability of water? What are some of the steps that needs to be taken? So like one of the step is interlinking of the river. Similarly, there is a rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting. How to go for this rainwater harvesting? So these are what are the traditional rainwater harvesting method? So these are some of the issues, some of the area that you need to focus. Now, when it comes to the water, when it comes to the industry, there is a one linked area, and that area is agriculture. Like majority of our fresh water demand is associated with the agriculture. Industry is also based on the agricultural raw material. So agriculture is a one important area from where regularly you will get the question like distribution of different crops, where the crop is located, what is the region, why the crop is being cultivated, where it is being cultivated. So the different area where the crop is being cultivated, where the crop is particularly distributed. Similarly, the different type of agriculture. So the different type of agriculture, what are the agriculture that are being prevalent in different part of the country? Then we have a farmer's distress, specifically from the perspective of agriculture problems. Then some of the modernization, the most important modernization, that is the green revolution. Regularly they used to ask the question from this area. So you need to have clarity about the green revolution. It's a positives. There are lots of positive, but also there are lots negatives. So how to overcome this negatives? To overcome this negative, you need to look out for the, do we need new green revolution? Also, modern methods of agriculture, modern methods of agriculture. Then you will have a issue debate of this fertilizer. versus organic farming. Then we have agroecological cultivation. So these are some of the areas, some of the topics that you need to cover from the agricultural perspective. Then how the new form bills that the government was bringing earlier, what was the motive behind that, what changes that bills were trying to achieve in the India, if that bill was supposed to be introduced, so what benefit it was supposed to have, so that you need to prepare. Now look out some of the question. Despite India being one of the countries of the Gondwana land, its mining industry contribute much less to its GDP in percentage. तो हमारा जो इंडस्ट्रियल जीडीपी है, जो हमारा खास करके माइनिंग का जीडीपी है, उसका जो नंबर है, उसका जो प्रोपोर्शन है, दैट इज ऑब्वियसली वेरी लो. सो फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव द क्वेश्चन इज बीइंग आस्क्ड. Then there is one more topic जो हम लोगों ने we haven't touched upon, that is the last topic, that is population. So in population we have population distribution, also growth of population, population distribution, growth of population, then declining population in most of the states. Then you will have issues of migration, then one very big problem of population, that is population aging, and this population aging pressure on workforce. So population aging, pressure on workforce. Then you will have some of the topics of settlement. ये भी आपका यहीं से आएगा, माइग्रेशन से ही, कॉजेज ऑफ माइग्रेशन. रैपिड urbanization. So the rapid urbanization, haphazard urbanization, this rural and urban clash, because every time you will find that there has been a debate, there has been an issue related to that. So why do large cities tend to attract more migrants than the smaller towns? Discuss in the light of conditions in developing countries. What is the concept of demographic winters? Demographic winters, that are mostly the situation conditions where countries, the regions are mainly witnessing almost the negative population growth. So demographic winters is like negative population growth, declining total fertility rate, and more importantly below replacement level. When total fertility rate goes to the below replacement level, that is 2.1. Total fertility rate is simply the number of children the woman can expect in their fertile period. How far was the industrial revolution in England responsible for the decline of handicraft and cottage industry in India? The cotton se related. Comment on the resource potential of the long coastline of India and highlight the status of natural hazard preparedness. Identify and discuss the factors responsible for diversity of natural vegetation. Assess the significant. From being net food importer in 1960, India has emerged as a net food exporter to the world. Provide reasons. Discuss the natural resource potential of the Deccan Trap. Examine the potential of wind energy in India and explain the reasons for their limited spatial spread. Describing the distribution of rubber producing countries, indicate the major environmental issues faced by them. Discuss the multi-dimensional implication of uneven distribution of mineral oils. account for the present location of iron and steel industry away from the sources of raw materials by giving examples. India has immense potential of solar energy, though there are regional variation in its development. Examine the status of forest resources of India and its resultant impact on the climate change. So regularly questions are being asked the way I have suggested you. What are the environmental implications of the reclamation of water bodies into urban land use? Explain with examples. The groundwater potential of the Gangetic Valley is on a serious decline. तो global warming, आपका पूरा का पूरा जो glacier melting है उससे related. How may it affect the food security of India? Why is the world today confronted with the crisis of availability of and access to fresh water resource? How do the melting of Arctic ice and glaciers of the Antarctic differently affect the weather pattern and human activities on the earth? Explain. The process of desertification does not have climatic boundaries. Justify with examples. How will the melting of Himalayan glaciers have a far-reaching impact on the water resource of India? In fact, one more question. The interlinking of rivers can provide viable solution to the multidimensional interrelated problems of drought, floods, and interrupted navigation. Critically examine. So almost all the questions are being asked from the theme that I have suggested in most of the 78 years. Obviously, it is very difficult to predict that what question will be asked. But believe me, if you will go through with these topics, if you will go through with these themes, definitely you are going to get majority of the questions of the upcoming mains examination. So these are some of the important topics, themes that you should not miss for the upcoming mains examination for your geography for GS paper 1. So that's it from my side, and for any doubts, queries, you can drop a message, you can drop a message in the comment box. Definitely the team will revert back to you. So that's it from my side. Thank you.